How y'all doing, guys? Welcome back to the Retro Dodo podcast. You are listening to episode 92. I'm joined by Seb today, and you might be wondering, well, Brandon's doing the intro today. It's usually Sebastian. Well, I've been consulting for 6 months for a search engine. That's come to an end. So I'm back full speed at Retro Dodo. So you're going to see me much more on the podcast, even though Seb does lead that. But I'm sure I'm going to be on more, which is good news for many of you that don't like Seb and prefer me.
It's great news for me. I get to spend more time with Brandon. It's exactly what I wanted.
You love it, mate. You love it. And in typical fashion, we have no plan for this episode because the episodes that I am on, we just wing it. And I'd argue that they're the best, Seb, to be honest.
And in typical fashion, my microphone is slipping and sliding continuously as you're talking, so I'm going to have to sit like this for the rest of the episode. Yeah, I like the ones where Brandon and I just get to chat about the things that we've been doing and working on. And, you know, we've had a really nice stint of getting some amazing guests on, and we're going to have more to come as well. But there's a lot of things that we want to talk about that we have been happening in the industry and at Retro Dodo HQ and things that we've been reviewing and talking about. So we thought we'd just do a little episode where we have a catch-up, chat to you guys about what's been happening, what's coming next. And, you know, it's basically a chance for me and Brandon to catch up and you for all to listen. So, you know.
On that note, all due respect, you have absolutely nailed the guests over the last 6 months. Some of the guests you got on is a scene. So I appreciate you keeping the podcast on its rails. And if anything, you've definitely took it to a whole other level, so I appreciate that, and I'm hoping the listeners have seen that as well, because it's a lot of work and to get guests on and record and edit and promote, it's a lot. So yeah, I thank you dearly for that, mate.
Oh, well, thank you very much, and everyone else out there has heard that this is the first bit of praise I've ever got from Brandon Saltamacchia, so thank you for that, for making that publicly aware.
Yeah, we'll snip that out in the edit. Right. You've been away for a week on a stag do, and you've been ill. I've had two handhelds in. I actually sent you one, didn't I? So I had two of these.
You did, yeah. You sent me the RG34XX XP.
Yes.
Which for me looks incredibly like the Mayu Flip, but I don't know whether you're going to get onto that in a second. But I have both of those side by side, and they are possibly the same device. I cannot understand how they got away with making this device look exactly the same as the other one, bar different coloured buttons. Yeah,
the issue with Ambernick is they do copy. They copy everyone, and sometimes they do it better, which is unfortunate, because I just finished a news post this morning that is about the Magic X040, which has a vertical display, great for emulating Nintendo DS and vertical arcade games. And I have a funny feeling, even though that's due to come out next month, June 17th, which is the due date of my daughter, actually, so that would be interesting. I might have to, maybe put one of them as a priority.
Are you going to call them Magic in honour of this this console coming out?
Yeah, that's her first gift. That's Kate's push present. The Magic X40. But I got a funny feeling that Abernick's going to copy that and come out with a vertical handheld, and it's probably going to be better. But They've taken the design from the Mayu Flip and made it themselves. It's an upgrade or a semi-upgrade from the RG35XX SP. For those viewing on our YouTube channel, it uses two analog sticks, a slightly better display, which someone actually took out. There's a lip up here, or a big forehead, a bit like me, which is hiding a 4x3 display, not a 3x2 display. But there's rumors that Ambernick actually think have actually come out and said it's 3x2. So there's lots of cool new features with that one, including a bit more RAM. And I've been getting on really well with it. And that came in at the same time as my Flip DS from Retroid Pocket. Again, I'm not promoting the YouTube channel, but for those on our video podcast, you can see
the colours are amazing on that. I just love it.
Yeah, dude. I've fallen in love with this. It's basically a Nintendo DS-like Android emulator from Go Retroid that costs $200. Has a Snapdragon 865 CPU in it. It can emulate PS2 games and everything below. And it is phenomenal. And these two came in at the same time. And it's just reignited my love for clamshells. Did you ever have a Game Boy Advance SP growing up?
I did, yeah. I've got one. Well, I've got the Retro Dodo one behind me. Before I had the AGS 101, and I got like a little Mario kind of like crystal case thing for it from Nintendo Magazine.
Oh,
I ended up
nice.
selling it to Game, and they thought it was a limited edition one and gave me way more money than I should have had for it, which was awesome. But it was just like a little
What's
clip. It's like a little clip-on case that I got with the magazine. I put it on, and the guy was
Oh
like,
my
he was like, "Oh
god.
my god, this is limited edition. This is fantastic. Yeah. Oh, I can give you 40 pounds more for that." And I was like, I was sort of like, I don't know, 15. I kept quiet. I didn't say anything. It was
Yeah.
fantastic. But yeah, I loved that thing, man. The whole idea of clamshells is like, why do we love the old school Motorola flip phones? There's something about that kind of
Yeah.
like that noise, that flip and just stick in your pocket without a case that we just absolutely love still today, like that nostalgic feeling for that kind of tech. So I'm kind of glad that clamshells are coming back and doing more business. Like, I mean, I love the. I have my analog pocket here all the time. You know, I absolutely love it, and the same with the Chromatic and my Game Boy Color and stuff. But you just can't beat that clamshell Game Boy Advance feeling. It's just awesome.
Yeah. There's some, but I think it just drives that nostalgic moment for us. That's kind of what reignited my love for these. I just kept going back to those times when I was trading Pokemon on my Game Boy Advance SP, and then the Retroid Pocket Flip is just like a whole new way to play retro games because it has a 5.5-inch AMOLED display. It's an absolute beast. Makes a hell of a noise though when you are emulating PS2 because it just sounds like a Harrier jet. But I don't know. I just think this is the year of clamshells, and these two are now very high up on our best retro handhelds list for a good reason. So it'll be interesting to see if any other competitors come into the scene, but I don't think they will. I'd love to see Analog get into that. That would be sick if they did something.
I'd like to see us get our analog 3Ds first before they do anything else, to be honest with you.
Yeah, when's that? July still? Oh my god.
And it's interesting because we've got a time now where the Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out, and also Mod Retro have teased their own N64
Yeah.
console, and we've got the analog 3D coming out. It's weird. There's never been a better time for Nintendo to have sort of retro media and new media sort of being celebrated at the same time.
Yeah.
With the release of new Nintendo games, bringing back new series like Metroid Prime 4, Metroid Prime 4 finally coming out, but also having machines that can play Pokemon Stadium and Glover on 4K. It's like 2026. Well, the remainder of 2025, but 2026 especially seems like it's going to be Nintendo's year massively.
Yeah. It's interesting. I spoke with Torin, who's one of the co-owner of Mod Retro, and I was trying to pick at some stuff there, and he kind of saw me coming. But it's under development, so they are deep in development and production of the N64 console. And he mentioned to me that Palmer might make an announcement soon about the next batch of chromatics because they sold out really quickly. So I think they're going to relaunch them without the first edition stamps. And maybe, he didn't confirm it, this is just me speculating, but I think maybe a few new colours. Because, people like new colours, and it also brings back some old customers should they want different colours. I'm all for transparent shells, so it'd be cool if they did something there. So hopefully we'll see something from Palmer and the team about a restock, which is probably good timing, seeing as Christmas is like 6 months away. If they can print loads of those. But no news. They wouldn't announce any news on like a Game Boy Advance or anything, which I was prodding at. But Torin being Torin, it's like jog on, which is fair enough. And while on the go ahead.
Back when we spoke to Palmer about the Chromatic, they said that a lot of people are pushing for Game Boy Advance. So I would think after the M64 drops,
Is that what they're calling it? M64.
Yeah, that was the code name that came out in the news post. Yeah. After the M64, I think we're going to be seeing a GBA Chromatic for definite. So I imagine that's going to be in the works. Again, that's not gospel, but from what we got from Mod Retro's founder, I feel like that could be next on the cards.
While on the subject of Game Boy Advance, a big shout out to Ninty Media for launching their Game Book Advance. Again, those watching on our video, which I advise you do, you can see our ugly mugs. They've came out with a premium book dedicated to the Game Boy Advance. So lots of stories and art in there. Very similar to a handheld history. Not as good, obviously, but still top tier level stuff.
There, I can't point in reverse, but there's handheld history 1 and 2 over my shoulder there if you're watching the YouTube.
One thing I like what they did right that we didn't do. And
oh man,
of all
you
four,
can't talk about this on the podcast. This is going to be public knowledge now.
No, these guys are awesome. They know we're not competitors really because we've stopped making books because they're just such a pain in the ass. They created like a really cool timeline. Here, check this out in the video. Like a really cool timeline of stuff sick. Over like 10 pages, so you can kind of see the longevity. Even the N gauge. I didn't know that the N gauge came out to compete with the SP in 2003, but
mate, you should read Retro Dodo more. You'd know these kind of things.
Well, I had an N gauge, so I should know that.
No, but you are engaged. I keep telling you this is that
is true.
You need more sleep, mate. This is what having 2 kids will do to you.
Yeah. It all happens at once. No wonder I'm losing my hair. And they sent over like a cool little poster as well. Like really cool. I love seeing physical books in this form. So if you are interested in a new physical book alongside a handheld history, you can look at Game Book Advance. There are links below. So big up Ninty Media for making that. I think they originated with magazines, didn't they? But now they're doing some physical books, which is good. I want to pick your brains. A Nintendo Switch 2. You haven't pre-ordered one yet, huh?
No, I'm going to do it today. So I tried. I'd heard people saying all the time that they can't get through on Nintendo. So I just assumed that, wrongly. Well, I'm not going to be able to get through and do that either. So I've been waiting on Amazon. The day that they went on pre-sale, I was doing a podcast record the day they went on pre-sale, and by the time I finished the record and gone on to pre-order one, the stock had just disappeared. It was wild. So I've just been waiting. But I happened to just try yesterday on Nintendo and thought, okay, yeah, I'm going to go have a look on it and see if I can get on. And I can pre-order one through Nintendo, so I'm going to do that today.
My old man ordered one through there, and my cuckoo clock. What's the time? It's 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock.
When this podcast should be going out, we're a little bit late.
I know, that's my fault. I went to a festival yesterday, guys. That's why I sound very croaky this morning. I had a great time, but the podcast is going to be a little bit late today, so I do apologise. But that's Brandon's cuckoo clock reminding me that I should be better in life. that I'm a failure. So thanks, cuckoo clock. No, so your old man got one through Nintendo. Yeah, and he got a notification that they're preparing it. So I actually think they've got quite a bit of stock. So I think you might get lucky and actually get it on release day, which would be good. Because I'd like to test Mario Kart World with you, because you're my only friend. Yeah, which is sort of worrying and sad for both of us, isn't it, really? It's a friend and therapist all roll into one. Yeah. But one of the things, for me, I've been banging about GameCube coming onto the Nintendo Switch Online for a long time now.
Yeah.
A long time. And you've been doing a bit of research about the controller this morning, right? Because you've been getting a bit excited about getting back onto Pokemon XD and trying out some Luigi's Mansion eventually. I know it's going to be... There are multiple games that are going to be launching over the course of it, but for the fact of Wind Waker arriving on day one of Nintendo Switch, it's going to be awesome because that game is going to look fantastic on that console.
I think you can do 16:9 as well on it if you wanted to push the ratio, which is quite nice. It's one of these things that Nintendo need to do to sell Nintendo Switch Online is not just port them over; they need to enhance them. And one of the cool things I like with especially Wind Waker and just the emulator on NSO in general is that you can now apparently remap all of the buttons on the GameCube controller, because it comes with a GameCube controller just like they did with the N64, which I know is quite hard to get hold of because I think you have to do it through your Nintendo Switch Online membership, and you have to be quite active or some bollocks. But you can actually map every button on that controller. So those of you like me that hate Wind Waker's inverted controls, you can get rid of that, which I think is really cool. Because at the end of the day, there are a lot of games in certain GameCube games that are just not good in terms of controls. And Wind Waker being one of them. So you can get rid of that, which I think is pretty cool.
I am holding out hope because obviously Nintendo Nintendo released new games onto NSO quite a lot, and with GameCube being the new one to show off the powerful nature of the new console, we've already been given. I think it's about 8 games that are popping out there already. But I am holding out hope, and I don't know whether it's going to happen. But I want Lord of the Rings: Two Towers to go on there at some point because, man, for me, there hasn't been, with the exception of Return of the King. I'll give it Return of the King, but for me, there hasn't been a good Lord of the Rings game since Two Towers.
What the? Not even Shadow of Mordor?
Mate, I'm putting it out there. I'm saying that.
Ooh.
I'm saying that. I'm proud. People are going to be wrong. People are going to say I'm wrong.
Gollum.
We're going to get... That felt more like a biography of my life, to be honest with you, mate, so I didn't really enjoy that much. But no, I feel like Two Towers for me just had everything. I think it's just because it was so epic, just replaying the scenes from the movie. And yes, I really liked Return of the King as well, but...
level creation, map creation on that was remarkable.
Yeah.
You actually felt like you were in the movie with your friends as well.
Exactly. Being able to play alongside your mates and relive those scenes and have the, just the
what the fuck has
lines.
happened to couch gaming? It really annoys me. And I've been reading a load of reports about how gaming's affecting kids. It's because nobody's making good couch co-op games anymore.
Man, I want to clap to that, but it'll just ruin the recording. But I agree. The only 2 things we've had recently are, and even then, It Takes Two and Split Fiction. But you can still play. You can still play those wireless. You can still play those over the internet and be in completely different parts of the country. But I feel like when we grew up, and this is going to be really old man says this, but I think a lot of our listeners will relate to this. Like, nothing can beat being on the same sofa, 4 of you playing Smash Brothers together, because you're there, you're connecting. You're not isolated on your own. It's great that I can log on and play Mario Kart World with you. But when you sat next to each other, a couple of Sunny Delights in the 90s, or now with actually Sunny Delight probably made me like I am today. To be honest, I shouldn't have promoted that.
I'm still getting through my bloody. What was it? Mum was like, well, what did Mum used to say? You drink enough of that, you'll turn yellow.
Yeah, exactly. Some child in America drank 40 liters in 1 minute and turned orange for about a week or something like that.
It's like some out of Willy Wonka.
But yeah, that's the thing. You had your snacks, you had your things. You could talk. You were connecting. You were there together. You were making core memories with each other. And people don't make games like that anymore. Even if we were all sat around the table together playing a Call of Duty game, I feel like life is just different now. But couch co-op and getting on a game like Two Towers, reliving one of our favorite movies. With 2 wave birds and your mate just pissing around, moving the thing at the bottom so that you couldn't actually, so they'd win. It was just ace, man. So go on.
I experienced that for the first time with strangers, maybe 6 months ago. I went to a game expo in London at XL. I can't remember who was. Might have been a Comic-Con. And there was a retro section there. They invited me along. They didn't invite me. They kind of just pinged me, and I had to pay.
You just turned up, didn't you?
Yeah, I turned up. But I still had to pay. So I came along to check out the retro section. And it was all pretty good. They had so much there. But they had the original Xbox out with 4 Duke controllers. Sorry, they had 4 original Xboxes out, all with Duke controllers, connected to LAN, and we were playing the original Halo multiplayer against strangers. And it was fucking awesome. You could see the person that you just killed with an energy sword, raging. And you could obviously screen stare, what I was doing, so I knew where people were. And then I'd shoot their brains out. And I was like, this is awesome. And me and Kate, we've got a 16-month-old now. He's way too early to game. But I keep talking to Kate, how I want him to play games, but not on a level that's incredibly immersive, on your own, that's talking with people you don't know, that's actually somewhat lonesome. I want him to be cooperating and playing couch games with not only me, but future friends. And there's just not really anything like that. I know you can bring in Minecraft and Roblox and all of that and invite their friends round and do a semi-LAN party, but there's no good proper games that I can see that are incredibly story driven that are 3 or 4 players. And they just need to start developing them a bit more. The Last of Us had a good opportunity. Horizon Zero Dawn, that would have been a great 2-player game. But I get it. Maybe couch co-op games don't make money. You can't, microtransact them. You can, maybe you don't sell as many because your mate's got a copy and you'll just go around your mates and play it instead of buying it yourself. So I see the issue from a business standpoint, but there just needs to be more couch co-op games for kids. I think
that's why It Takes Two did really well on the Switch, because they give you a download code. So if you had it, you could give a friend, because you have to. You have to have two people to. Yeah, so you have to have two people to play it. So if you buy it, you get a code that you can give to a friend, which means they can download it as well. They just don't have the physical edition. So you get a physical and a download so that you can play together no matter where you are. But I feel like, again, that doesn't solve the couch co-op version of it. But just imagine if we get like. If we get Two Towers and if we get Gauntlet Dark Legacy,
remaster it.
Yeah, if we get them remastered on NSO, it'll be awesome. If we get like Gauntlet Dark Legacy on there, 4 players going out and doing that mental game that we spend hours on back in the GameCube promoted. This is what made me think this. The GameCube promoted couch co-op, and now GameCube is back on Nintendo Switch on a console by a company who love multiplayer and creating these family-driven. Friendship moments that you can sort of share.
They are the Mario Strikers is one of the games that's going to be available. So I presume that's 2-player. That has to be, right?
It used to be 4 players. So like we'd play that. We'd play that all the time back when I was supposed to be doing my GCSEs. We'd supposed to be revising.
When I used to be.
Yeah, when I used to be a good student, and when I used to be younger, we'd play that when we should have been revising. Same with WarioWare, things like that. There's a massive back catalogue of games that could promote couch co-op, and if done properly, it'd be awesome to get people like back in the same room, like in the days of the Wii, playing this stuff. And yes, you can play online, but it'd just be awesome to see that happening again. So fingers crossed.
There needs to be, and I know there is one for maybe in America where like a massive. This sounds really weird. A massive van, like long tail sprinter van, pulls up. It's got like 8 seats in there, and the kids can play all these games together next to each other, filled with snacks, mini fridges, and stuff.
Yeah, you're right. This does sound weird. Yeah,
that would be sick. Hey kids, get in the van. Well, I just thought of that for like.
This is not a potential business idea for anyone who's listening to this podcast. Brandon is not thinking about doing this. We're just reading something we've read on the internet.
Because we used to have like Wire World in our local town, which was like it had like 50 computers in it. You used to LAN with strangers and your friends. You'd book out a room and you'd go down for 4 hours. They'd have a bar, they'd have drinks, and you'd pay an absolute fortune to just be sat next to your friends playing Battlefield, Counter-Strike, all of those competitive games. And I used to love that. But they went bust because gaming just went internally into every house. But that's what they need to bring back. I'd love that if there was a place near me that you could just book out for your children, for parties, or even 30-year-old dudes to just go there and just have a good time.
Well, there is. It'd be nice. I am gonna do a little shout out now, because there's a new arcade bar opened up in York, which is where I live, and I'm planning on going down because they're getting a pinball area, which is quite cool because we don't see a lot of that anymore either.
Yeah.
And it's called Upper Level, and the idea is you can rent out a space for parties or for you and your friends to go and actually play on retro consoles and to like sit in the same booth and do this. And they are building a pinball arcade area as well, which is awesome. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that heading to my city, especially because of the connection that Retro Dodo has with places like Saw Thumb Retro Games, and the work they do in the city for bringing Mario Kart nights down to the local kind of food halls and stuff like that. So it's going to be really good to see retro making a comeback in York, but also like for a little bit further afield. We've been to NQ64 a lot of times, Brandon and I, over the years in different places throughout the country. And
I was in Cardiff 2 weeks ago, and we spent. It's classic like stag do. Nobody organises anything in the morning. So you're like, everyone's up 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. What do? We ain't got anything booked till 3 o'clock. And I was like, well, NQ64's around the road. Let's go there. And that was pretty cool. I guess they have that on a level. We were playing like FIFA on the PlayStation 2, and there was a Godzilla pinball game that I spent most of my coins on that was sick. Me and you were born after the pinball era, so we kind of missed that. But damn, there's something about pinball machines that is just incredibly excited. I think it's just the lack of screens, which is quite nice, but you can make them quite immersive. So I guess, yeah, to counter what you said, that they are around. But I guess there's something about NQ64 which isn't as intimate as these other places that I used to go. But maybe that's just it's just impossible now, because people don't want to be in a tiny little room with massive computers. And on the subject of meeting people face to face, I know we've spoken about this for ages, but now that I'm back and I had a child, I'm gonna have another one, but I need something to look forward to. I think we make an event, and I've been speaking with Ben, who runs Retrosect here in the UK. We did a video tour with him. We've spoken with him. We're quite good friends. I'm thinking of doing something there. I know this is only for our UK readers, unfortunately, but I'd love to make a small event there that's quite inclusive, but quite inclusive but private. It will have to be like somewhat ticketed, so I know numbers, like a couple of quid. But the idea is to do an event at his store. It's an incredible store. He's got event space for some small vendors to come and sell stuff. I'd love to pull up a local food van. There's an outside bit that he's got. It's enough parking for 100 cars, so we could get a good amount of people there if they wanted to come. I just have a really kind of intimate kind of meet up with our community. I'd love to get some YouTubers there. There's some vendors that are selling some cool retro stuff. So my idea is that it would be an event where you come, you have some good food, there's some drinks, but you're exploring a unique shop alongside new vendors for collectors and people wanting to find some gems. But more of here's a few hours to play some consoles, check out some cool stuff, have some good drinks, good food, and just spend an afternoon with like-minded people. So I'm thinking of planning that. I'm talking with Ben right now about the logistics, because with these kind of things, you don't know how many people's going to turn up or how little people are going to turn up. It's the first time we've done it. It might just be me and Seb, and then we'll have to eat like 50 burgers, but I'm sure we can
It's not a problem. It's not a problem.
So I'm thinking we do something there, because we want to get into events, and I think this is a good start to see what people want, make it super intimate, and then go from there. So you'll have to come down to that, Seb.
I love coming down south. It's an experience for me. It's like
it's like meeting normal people for the first time.
Well, it's like Game of Thrones when they come from Winterfell down to King's Landing, and then something happens, like somebody gets imprisoned or died, and they spend the time trying to figure out how to get back north again, where everything's safe and relaxed. So that's why I'm talking about couch co-op gaming and being in the same room, but you and I think our friendship works best the further apart we are. So
with a distance,
it'll be interesting. Yeah. It'd be interesting to come down. No, I'm really looking forward to. As you guys know, 2025 so far has been us not reinventing Retro Dodo, but going to the next stage of the journey. And a lot of you have been supporting us with the memberships, which we're very thankful for, and our deals page, which we've been working on, is going to be live by the time this podcast goes out, which is fantastic. So you guys who have become subscribers to the website have got access to deals on some amazing websites now, like CRKD, 8-Bit Dough, our own website, Southern Retro Games, lots of places online and in store across the retro gaming space. So we're very excited to be able to offer that to you guys as a thank you for supporting us and helping us do what we do every single day. And to have an event where we can meet you guys and just talk about all things retro that's different from the norm. We spend our whole lives celebrating everything retro, and we want to put that into an amazing event that we can share with you. And I believe work has begun again on the Dodo display, Brandon, in a different form.
Yes. So
I say I believe like I don't know, but I'm just really good at making segues. I do know this, but Brandon hasn't spoken for 4 or 5 minutes, so I'm just trying to tie it back into him, because if you don't, he's like, when Mario stops listening to Luigi on Paper Mario and starts sleeping, he's a little bit like that. That's how our dynamic is. So if you don't get him back in again quickly, he'll just nod off these days. He's got a kid coming and one already, and man's tired, so you just got to keep getting him back in.
Kate says that sometimes. She's like, when people talk to you, sometimes you just zone out.
Yeah, because you're thinking about being back in Australia where you were just sort of like carefree, and the only problem you had was getting to the next petrol station without running out of fuel and dying in the sun.
Yeah.
You're doing it now, aren't you?
Yeah, I did. The beaches. I almost got killed multiple times in Australia, so I don't know why.
Beaches then. He said beaches as in sand.
Yeah,
I'm just
beaches
clarifying
and
that for
sand.
anyone who doesn't understand his accent. Beaches
Although,
as in...
no, I'm only messing. But I almost got killed multiple times in Australia, so I don't advise going. I got bit by everything. I got poisoned. I caught loads of stuff.
And you're still here, which is
Still...
I don't know whether that's bad luck for me or just your great resilience.
It's the Sicilian blood, mate. Basically just made of lemons.
The snake biting into you and going, that's a bit sour, I can't be asked with that.
Oh, bloody hell. Yeah. Dodo display. So let me just I'm going to push back and grab the actual display a minute.
For our YouTube viewers, you can see his pasty legs as well.
Damn it. So we've been building the display, and it will happen, but it is an absolute ball ache. I don't know who came up with the idea to start this as a first product. I do, it was me.
Yeah,
and I made a big mistake.
Sounded like it was you. This is definitely one of the things you thought about at 3 a.m. probably, and woke your darling fiancée up and said, I've got a great idea of something.
Yeah, she hates that. It happens a lot. I've got a problem. So that we found a manufacturer for the wood. The wood is absolutely stunning. It's a premium wood made of oak, and it's super durable, lasts a long time, and that's why I love wood. I've got a bunch of wood products here that have they just last. And for those looking at the YouTube video, the display would hold your Game Boy and your Game Boy games in a display format, and then we'd have an acrylic top.
You look like one of those heads in a jar of Futurama there. That was fantastic.
However, the acrylic top costs an absolute fortune. It takes up a lot of space to ship, and it's definitely a product that we need to keep iterating on, because we need 3D printed stands for the base and pins. It's a lot. So we're actually going to work on a smaller product that's more accessible, it's more affordable, but still keeping with the premium wooden build, which I absolutely love. There's something about high-end premium wood products that I absolutely love, and there's nothing in this niche that is focusing on gamers right now. And we've got a few ideas. There's one called the we haven't officially named it yet, but the Throne, where the Game Boy would, it came from inspiration from this. Again, for our video viewers, this is my Ugmonk productivity thing, right? Where you've got your paper here, you write on your paper and you stick it in this little stand. I want that for a Game Boy. So my idea is to create that for a Game Boy, and then your cartridges sit back here. So you've got this on your display, and you can pick it up and go. Maybe a section for your batteries as well. And it's just this premium wooden display that will hold your Game Boy and other handhelds and your Game Boy cartridges in a form factor like that, made of high-end premium wood. And we also want to give back to the world, because we're taking the trees. So it would be sustainably sourced, and we'd also plant trees depending on how much wood we use.
I think it probably means that I'll be doing the planting here. I can see where this is coming. My written content's going to go down, because I'm going to be in a forest somewhere in Albania just planting trees. I can see this happening.
Get your Wellington boots on, pal. So I guess it's just a product I've wanted. I've got all of these expensive handhelds, and also we want to go into the trading card niche as well. I've got some super high-end trading cards that are just like in my like safe or in a drawer, and all the displays are cheap plastic. I want like a high-end premium wooden display for my consoles, my games, and my cards, and I think that's what we're going to build alongside Dodo. Hopefully, it's not going to be. I don't think we name it Retro Dodo. I don't think we create a store. I think we keep Dodo to content and build a whole new separate brand. But we're still in very early plans for that. We don't even have a brand name. We don't even have a trademark. We're working with Joseph Tompkins, who's designed this, who's also very well known in the retro gaming space, an absolute beast of a designer. He's going to be helping us with this. But basically, we just need your help getting the word out when we launch. So, for any of those that are podcast listeners, there will be high discounts for you and also premium members as well once that launches. But again, we're still early. You know, I've just come back from a consultancy gig that didn't really work out, so I've been thrown into the deep end again, trying to figure all this out. But I want this, and I think some of you do as well. So why not make it and see what happens? And if all fails, me and Seb can go back to Australia.
Yeah, and hopefully this time the snakes will kill him.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I know a very good spot with some poisonous snakes that we can go to.
Listen, I want to talk about how much of an impact retro is making in the modern world at the minute. So I said at the beginning of this podcast, I'm very tired because I went to a music festival yesterday. I went to Slam Dunk North. If anyone who doesn't know, who isn't in England, there's it's a 2-day event. Slam Dunk South, Slam Dunk North. The same artists play at both festivals. They just come from down south up to Leeds for the next day, and it was just really nice to see one of my favourite bands, Hot Mulligan, playing. The drummer was wearing a Spyro t-shirt. Again,
nice.
Just little things like a really old school Spyro shirt just making like a comeback. And then Day to Remember, they had a whole section where the lights went out and you could just hear Sega sounds and then the Sonic theme tune playing.
Nice.
And it's just amazing that a lot of these bands were sort of there as we were growing up, but some of them weren't. Some of them are new, and some of them are still channeling retro into like onto a bigger scale. Thousands and thousands of people watching these screens and seeing these bands, and I just think it's really nice to go see somebody like those guys. Or, I went to see Bring Me the Horizon recently. They had a whole kind of N64 startup sequence at the beginning of the gig. Like player select and this kind of thing, and it's really nice that we're in 2025, and the games that I'm looking at on my shelves around me are still having like a massive impact on entertainment on a massive scale. And I just wanted to take the opportunity to shout that out. From tattoo conventions that I've been to recently, where they've got artists drawing up Mario and Boo and a little Space Invaders cabinet in the corner, to being in massive arenas, and retro gaming still having such a prevalent kind of, I don't know, focus on today's audiences. I just think it's great. And I think that, with, again, the advent of the GameCube coming on Nintendo Switch Online, and who knows, maybe we'll get Wii coming on next. That seems like the next thing to try and do afterwards. And, is there a world where we'd see, Spyro making more of a comeback on the PS5 or the Nintendo Switch? How I know that would never happen, to log on to Nintendo Switch Online and see a little PlayStation emulator, but I just think it's great that more and more people are kind of logging on and figuring out that these series exist. And it'd be nice to see new Spyro games come back, and maybe new Jak and Daxter stuff, and God forbid more. I know we won't get any Time Splitter stuff coming again now that the studio's gone, but I'm just getting nostalgic now. I'm just going down a nostalgic rabbit hole, Brandon. You're gonna have to stop me.
No, I'd like to see these companies as well maybe put some money into the retro stuff. Everyone wants the greatest and latest game. With like Ratchet and Clank on the PS5, that was insane. But like, there needs to be some love for the retro stuff, and not just remasters. We need because I don't want to call out these guys because they are on the podcast, but I was really looking forward to the Croc remaster, and I bought it. I supported them, really cool, but I don't know, maybe I was just expecting a bit more. And that was a little bit of a disappointment, even though I wanted to support them to get it out, because I'm hoping they remaster Croc 2. But there needs to be some level of like, this is more than a remaster. They've put like, especially with Sega's money with Sonic and stuff. So yeah, it's good to see it's making a comeback everywhere, even the music scene.
I feel like we were hoping for more of a remake rather than a remaster when it came to Croc.
Yeah, I think so. Even though that wasn't what was advertising, they said remaster. It's just me probably getting excited.
No, we knew from the beginning. What we were getting, but I think the hope is always there. The hope is always there that it's going to feel a little bit different, isn't it? But as you said, the controls still felt a little bit janky, and it wasn't as kind of the fully polished product That's hard to say when you've not had much sleep. That we hoped it was going to be, but for the ultra fans out there, it's still going to be something that they're going to buy and enjoy. But I think we just wanted more, didn't we?
We're greedy.
We are greedy, but we're Italian and Sicilian. This is what we like.
Yeah. All right, I think that's a good way to end off the podcast. Thank you to everyone that listens. If you do want to support us further and want some access to an exclusive podcast called Collectible Club, where me and Seb dive into collectibles and investments and stuff, we do have that for our premium members at retrododo.com/membership. If not, see you in a couple of weeks on the next episode. We still need to plan our big 100 episode, Seb. I don't know who
we've got some good ideas. We've got some good ideas.
Mm.
Well, actually, to be fair, last time your idea was let's get our mums on, which is a terrible idea. Because we won't get anything said whatsoever, and I'll just get chastised for not making better life choices. So that's probably not going to be a great idea. But we've got some ideas of people we could get on for that, and it is in progress. So the big 100 episode is slowly creeping up. So watch this space, guys. That'll be happening before you know it, and we hope you'll enjoy it. But as Brandon said, we'll see you in a fortnight for the next episode. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you soon.
Happy gaming. Bye-bye.